Very good morning, grade 12. I've already uploaded a few of your lessons, and I'm having a close watch on the views that I'm getting. And I've already told you, I've informed you about your answering those questions that I'm asking you throughout the video. I want to see it on Google Classes or on WhatsApp. It's left to you. I also want you to maintain a written record of what you are sending me on Google Classes or on WhatsApp. When you come to school, I want to see those sheets. It can be a notebook or a set of sheets, not your class workbook. So I want to see all these written work, all this written work in your whatever notebook or a bunch of sheets that you put together for English. Okay. So the day you come back to school, I am going to receive it from you. So please make sure you maintain it properly, write neatly, and have a record of what you have typed out on Google Classes or on WhatsApp. That's for you. And then for grade 10, I've put up a few grammar classes. You can also go through those classes just for a brush up of your grammar portions. Right? So it'll be of help to recall a few things. So you can also watch the grammar classes that I've done for grade 10. And I will post where if you are not going to be coming back to school very soon, then I'll be doing the other part also. A quick recap of the grammar for you that will also be done. Or what I post for grade 10 also, you'll be able to watch that as well. So I want you to have a brush up of your grammar portions as well. So now, this particular lesson, I'm going on to the next one, Journey to the End of the Earth. Tishani Doshi has written it. And, the past, the present, and the future of this particular Earth. How the Earth was, uh, in the beginning, at least, how it has deteriorated over the period of time, and how things are expected to happen in the future. They say we are not going to have any drinking water. It's going to be very difficult to find even a drop of drinking water. And some people predict that there will be a war fought all over the world only for water. All these things are predictions. So we do not know what kind of harm we human beings are doing to the earth. Now, since we've been, undergoing this, experiencing this lockdown, it's not only in India, various parts of the world, this lockdown is happening. And if you watch it, if you watch the news, there are so many things reported, that by, shutting down, the atmosphere has become clean. There are many rivers which have become cleaner when compared to, at least a month ago. There are so many things. COVID-19 has played a very major role in curtailing us here at home. But the environment is becoming cleaner day by day. The air that we breathe in is becoming purer day by day because less amount of pollution. So we keep hearing a lot of these things. Disasters. There are so many disastrous things that we human beings, actually we are contributing to the deterioration of nature. We talk about deforestation, we talk about, pollution, we talk about so many things. But when it comes to ourselves, how much of contribution are we able to, how much of contribution is from our side, which will protect the environment, the earth? How much are we working towards betterment of the earth, the environment? We do not know. Whenever somebody asks us a question, how are you going to do it as a student? We talk about going on awareness campaigns. We talk about putting up posters. We talk about putting up, notices. We talk about going out and asking people to follow certain rules. But how are we doing it to start off with? That's the main question. So now, this particular lesson, it talks about so many facts, science-oriented, and it tells us, like we did in 11th standard, we did a lesson on green revolution. This also talks about a place which can teach us about the past, present, and the future of the earth, the best place to go to. So I'm going to start off with this lesson. I want you to go through this carefully. Keep your textbook with you. There are a lot of meanings that I've given you. Keep the spiral binding material next to you and follow up with me. So if you want to know more about the planet's past, present and future, which is the best place to go to? It's given there. The Antarctica is the place to go to. Antarctica? Antarctica, Antarctica. A-R, there's a C there, which we usually miss out on. So it's Antarctica. All right. So now, Antarctica, what is special about the Antarctica? What do you know about the Antarctica? I would like you to post your answers on Google classes. I would like you to, or on WhatsApp, whatever. Keep writing also. I want you to get some facts about the Antarctica and keep them. And that will help you even before you go through this lesson with me. If you can do that, if you can find out a little more information about the Antarctica, then continue with my class. It will be good. Okay, so let's move on. Early this year, I found myself on board a Russian research vessel. Vessel here is a ship. The academic Shokalski. The academic Shokalski. That's the name of the ship. Oh, like you have the Titanic. Okay. So here, the name of this vessel, the ship is Academic Shokalski. So academic itself will give you a clue. There's something to do with studies. So this vessel was heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, and that is the Antarctica. So these are all extremes. The superlative degree, coldest, driest, okay, windiest continent in the world. That's the Antarctica. So these people are going, this particular author is traveling to Antarctica on this particular vessel or ship named the Academic Shokalski. My journey began 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many hemispheres. So he's talking about his journey. Okay, where he's going to start, how he's going to go to Antarctica, what are the different places he'll be traveling via to reach Antarctica, and so on. So, you know, the ship means they have directions, they have a compass, they have their own ways of finding directions. So, he's talking about degrees, he's talking about directions. By the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an airplane, and a ship. So he has not only traveled by ship, he has also traveled by car, by airplane, then by ship to reach this particular place. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expanse, white landscape. Why white landscape? Ice, snow, ice, especially ice, right? So Antarctica's white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. So he says, I reached there, it was 100 hours. So he says about 100 hours in combination. Traveling was for over almost about 100 hours by car, by plane, then by a ship. So when he reached this place and he looked at this huge, vast expanse of ice, you can imagine how he must have finally reached his destination. That was a relief. But that was not the only emotion. That was not his only feeling. What he was filled with was profound wonder. He was surprised, shocked, and amazed at this. And that amazement was profound, deep, intense. Wonder at its immensity, how big the place is. Its isolation, it's away from everywhere else. But mainly at how there could ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. So he says, see, India was once part of this place. We know about how the seas, how the whole earth was, how the continents separated, all these things. So he says, India was once part of this particular place, and you can imagine, when I'm standing here, I can imagine how it would have been then. Okay, so he's shocked, he's wonderstruck. 650 million years ago, he's talking about history, part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana, did indeed exist, centered rough around the present day Antarctica. So it was somewhere in the present day Antarctica, this Gondwana, this planet, this continent, supercontinent. Things were quite different then. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene. So it was before the human beings appeared on this earth. So it was very different. Naturally, if we are not there, a lot of pollution is not there. And if we are not there, then a lot of harm to the environment is not there. So we can imagine how much of ill effects we have brought to our earth. So he says things were very different then. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. A lot of different flora, plants, and fauna animals, different kinds of plants and animals were there. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. So 500 million years, this continent survived there. The supercontinent named Gondwana was there on this planet. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out, we learn about the dinosaurs, we learn about the Big Bang Theory, lots of things. So when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was supposed to separate into countries, shaping the globe which as we know it. So only after this particular when the dinosaurs were wiped away, and when all this happened, that was when the separation took place, and that is what we see on the map today as separate countries and separate continents. We see what we see on the map is because of this particular. We learned a lot of how the dinosaurs were wiped out, Big Bang Theory, lots of things we learn. So that is what has caused the separation of this land masses, and that is how countries were separated, continents were divided. Okay, to visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. So to learn your past, present, and future, the Antarctica is the best place to visit. That's what he's saying. It's to understand that the significance of Cordilleran folds and pre-Cambrian granite shields. Cordilleran folds are talking about the mountains, and pre-Cambrian granite shields. Granite, where you find granite. All right. So ozone and carbon evolution and extinction. How the ozone layer, how the ozone is, we know about what damages we have done to the ozone layer, and then we also learn about how carbon evolution and how things are extinct and what kind of pollution we cause, right? So when you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind-boggling. So there has been a lot of change over the past years. So he says when you look at the changes, it is so it is so confusing, it's so shocking and mind-boggling. Imagine India pushing northward. So India pushing northward, it's moving towards the north, jamming against Asia, hitting against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. So the Himalayas have been formed there. And South America drifting off to join North America. And then how South America went together and joined with North America. Opening up the Drake Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid and desolate and at the bottom of the world. So the Drake Passage. Look at the Drake Passage is an area of ocean noted for its violent storms. So now he's talking about how these different land masses were formed. Okay, how Antarctica is now very frigid and desolate, how it's kept as a separate place now altogether, how it is isolated. Okay, now for a sun-worshipping South Indian like me, the person, the Shani Doshi, is a sun-worshipping Surya, the sun god. He worships the sun god, and he's from South India. 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored is a chilling prospect, not just for circulatory and metabolic functions, but also for the imagination. So he's saying he's from South India, and he's always been used to seeing the sun. He's a sun god. He's a worshipper of the sun god. So here he says it's it's totally, it's something very uncommon for him to not to be experiencing the sun. It's total ice everywhere. Okay, and he says it not only causes problems with my stomach, metabolism, my functioning of the, of my digestive system, the whole lot of the body. It's not only that, but even for my imagination, it's something beyond imagination. I'm just not able to understand it. So it's not only ice and ice everywhere. It's like walking into a giant ping pong ball. Now, ping pong is actually another name for table tennis. Okay, so he says it's like a giant ping pong, a big ping pong ball. It's like walking into this ball. Okay, and devoid of any human markers. So there's nothing there. It's only ice everywhere. So there are no trees, no billboards, no buildings, nothing. Only ice everywhere. It's just like you're left somewhere. Where you're surrounded only by ice. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. You do not know the time, you do not know anything. Everything is, like it's standstill and there's no change in anything. So I've lost track of the time and the date, probably nothing. I'm not able to understand. I'm losing track of these things. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty, small to big, midges and mites to blue whales and icebergs, as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. So, what he sees, he says the visual scale, what I see is from small to big. Okay, midges and mites to blue whales, small to big. And icebergs, there are big icebergs, as the icebergs as big as countries. Okay, and the largest recorded was the size of Belgium. One particular iceberg was as big as Belgium, the country. Okay, so he's talking about the icebergs. You can only see ice everywhere. Days go on and on in surreal, very bizarre, very not very clear. It's very bizarre. Days go on and on in a surreal 24-hour austral summer light and ubiquitous silence, interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or carving ice sheets consecrates the place. So there's silence everywhere. Only when there is a storm, when there is a sheet breaking and falling, only that noise is heard, and that is what breaks the silence. Otherwise, it's just ice and ice everywhere. Like you have sheets of ice, you have icebergs. Only these things are there, and it's very quiet. There's no tree, there's no billboard, there's no signboard. Very, very, plain place, only surrounded by ice. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. And for humans, the prognosis isn't good. No, prognosis is a medical condition. He says you cannot survive here. You might feel part of those days where you are isolated. There's not much of population. The place is very empty. But he says it's not very good for a human being. For human beings, the medical condition, the survival is not very fine over here. Okay. The likely course of the medical condition he's talking about. It's an opinion, okay, based on medical experience. So, human impact. Human civilizations have been around for a paltry 12,000 years. Very few years, a small amount of years, number of years. Barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus. We have done a lot of damage, a lot of confusion, etching our dominance over nature. So we have shown our domination. We have controlled nature. With our villages, we have spread out. Villages, towns, cities, mega cities. We have spread out everywhere. The rapid increase of human population has left us battling with other species for limited resources, and the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world, which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature. He's talking about all that he's talking about how we people, our population has increased. We are encroaching on forests. We're snatching away the animals from their habitat. The habitat, we're slowly clearing forests. We are actually encroaching on their land. We're taking away their habitation. We're taking away the land. We're taking away their position. And not only that, we burn fossil fuels. And we are not for our races. We are not for our fishes. Everything. And all this is causing a lot of pollution in the air. And you know about the ozone depletion, and we also know about you know, the global temperature, how the temperatures are rising. You know, people are talking about heat. Summers are becoming hotter and hotter as the days go by. Why? Because it's all because of the human activities. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate. Not just because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect, but more importantly, because it holds its ice cores half million year old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. If we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the place to go. So he's talking about the debates that we have. Yes, the most hotly contested debates. We're talking about the melting of the ice. We're talking about you know, the pollution, the population, everything. We talk about so many different things. Okay, human activities are causing so much damage. We're talking about all this. There are so many debates everywhere. All right, and he says, see, Antarctica has never been able to hold a human population because it's very cold there. It's only ice there, and that is why probably that's the reason why it's so clear and clean and pure, because we are not there. Okay, we cannot hold a human population. But it says it's very important because in its ice it holds traces of carbon, which are of old records. You know, it holds records, and with that we'll be able to learn about the Earth's past, present, and even the future. So that's very important. That's why Antarctica is a very crucial element. Okay, so I would like you to tell me about Antarctica's role. Okay, why it becomes a crucial element in the debate. Now, student on ice. Now, why did this writer go on this academic ship? Okay, why is he on this academic show ski? Okay, why is he on this ship? What is he doing? Students on Ice, the program I was working with on the show ski, aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the end of the world and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. It has been in operation for 6 years now, headed by Canadian Jeff Green, who got tired of carting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who could only give back in a limited way. With Students on Ice, he offers the future generation of policymakers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. So now, this what is this man doing? He is actually on a program. He's working with students, okay, high school students. And these particular students, this whole Student on Ice program is headed by a person named George Green. He's a Canadian, okay, from Canada. And it says he got tired of carting celebrities. You know, he took celebrities down there to probably show them around, and he was a very rich man. But then he thought, why celebrities who are not able to do much for the planet? Why not you know, divert this whole program and get students there? Well, if students, you know, they call the future pillars of any nation. Our students are our future. So he says, at that particular age, when they are ready to absorb, if we take them and show them such kind of places, they will automatically learn, you know. And learn that how important learn how important the planet is to us, and they will also learn to respect the planet. And when they become policymakers, when they become in charge, take charges, you know, they can make a difference in the future of the they can take steps, they can make out a lot of policies, they can, you know, start off doing something good for the for the whole planet. And he believes that students are the only ones who can do something, not the celebrities. Okay, so he diverted his attention and he started this program named Student on Ice, and the author is working with the students. The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. So if you go there, you will be affected, meaning something happens. There is a change which happens within you. So it is easy to be blessed, okay, like not influenced. It is easy to be blessed about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respected latitude and longitude. But when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. So when we sit here and we listen to our teachers telling us, see, the melting of the ice is going to happen, global warming is happening, we are just listening to it. But when we go to this particular place and we see the ice melting and the thing falling, and that makes a real difference. Hearing and seeing, there are two different things. So when you go there, you really get affected. You know what kind of role human beings are playing and how they're polluting the earth and what damage they're causing to the entire planet. So when you go to the South Pole, you experience it. And that experience can change things in a person's life, the perspective, the way you look at things. So Antarctica, because of her simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is a perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions, consequences. So even small things that we do can affect the planet in various ways. Take the microscopic phytoplankton, those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. So now this is a repeated question. What are phytoplanktons? They are grasses, okay, that grow in the sea. They nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. Please underline those lines. This is a very repeated question that I find in almost a lot of papers I've come across this question. They are single-celled plants, underline that also. They use the sun's energy to assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important process called photosynthesis. So they are very, very important because what do? They get together, assimilate and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important process called photosynthesis. So when photosynthesis happens, they combine. They combine what? They combine, they assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds. So these small little microscopic phytoplanktons, these grasses, they are the ones which nourish and help sustain, means to live, to carry on, sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. So the phytoplanktons are very small grasses, but they are very important. Scientists warn that a further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of the phytoplanktons. They play a major role in the food chain. Okay, it says here they play those grasses. They sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. So if anything happens to this, the food chain gets collapsed. So the slightest, slight, even the slightest harm that happens to these will adversely affect the food chain of the southern ocean. So scientists warn that a further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of phytoplankton, which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and birds of the region and global carbon sink. So naturally, when the food chain is affected, the whole lot of the things get affected. So if we are going to continue like this, the phytoplanktons are going to get affected, and because of that, we are going to have other things also affected. Birds, animal life, marine animals and birds, the sea creatures. The whole thing is going to get destroyed. In the parable of the phytoplankton, there is a great metaphor existence. Metaphor for existence, a meaning for existence. Parable, the story of the phytoplankton. The phytoplankton is a microscopic element, but it plays a very major role. If we are going to, destroy that, it's going to destroy the entire the marine life in the food chain of the southern ocean. So it is just exactly something that happens in life. It's a metaphor for existence. So what is this? So take care of small things and the big things will fall into place. So if you look at the phytoplankton, it's a very small thing. But only if this is right in position and in place, if we take care of this, only then the rest of the things will be properly, they survive properly, or the routine will go on properly. So this is the metaphor for life. If we take care of small things, big things also will fall into place. Naturally, the big things will take care of themselves. Small things will lead to big things. So if we take care of small things, big things will fall into place. That is exactly, if you look at the phytoplankton, it is like life. Walk on the ocean. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. Now, if you look at this, he says it is, he says, Epiphanies here is the manifestation of Christ, okay, to the Gentiles. It goes on like this, like, when Jesus was born, the three kings, the Magi, they call the Magi, they came down and they were searching for the baby. They knew with the star, they knew that Christ was born, and these were Gentiles. So they came from far away. The star led them, God led them, and they came and saw Jesus Christ. When he was born. So that is Epiphany. Okay, that is about the manifestation, how Christ was not only for the Jews, he was also for the Gentiles. These people came and they saw him. So that is exactly, and these kings brought him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold for a king, frankincense for a priest, and myrrh when a person dies, it is applied for the preservation of the body. So it is foretold actually that Christ would be born, he would die, and he would resurrect, he would come back to life on the third day. All this was symbolized then itself. So he says, he says, my Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. Okay, so there were a lot of revelations there to me. I got to know so many things, but the experiences, but the best occurred. The one experience occurred just now. Where? 65.55 degrees south, short of the Antarctic Circle, at near the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees. So the Shokalski had managed to go in between herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. So between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, the ship was wedged. It came between these two places. And there was ice everywhere, so they were not able to go any further. The captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north. So he wanted to change direction. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank. A plank meaning to a plank, where you climb on board and disembark, the ship. Like if you watch Bahubali, you see that fellow, he acts like a bridge, and Anushka climbs over him and enters the ship before they go to their place. So that's a plank. Okay, that's called a gangplank. So he acts like that, but actually there is a board, like a wooden plate, which is put up. That's called a gangplank. So the captain said, anyway, we are going to turn and go northward, but before we go, let us all take a walk on the ocean. So they had to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. So there we were, all 52 of us, kitted out in Gore-Tex and glares, walking on a stark whiteness, that seemed to spread out forever. So they had their glares and other things on their equipment, they put on their, proper clothing, and it's very cold ice. So they went on to they had a big, vast area. It was all white everywhere because of the ice naturally. If you have watched this movie War, the climax you would have seen. You know how Hrithik Roshan and the other fellow, Tiger Shroff, they have a big fight, not Tiger Shroff. Yeah, Tiger Shroff and Hrithik Roshan, they go in this car on ice. They travel on ice if you watch it. So it's only white everywhere, ice everywhere. Okay, so you can imagine what these 52 people witnessed there. Underneath our feet was a meter thick ice pack. So 1 meter thick ice underneath. So there's no water. What is underneath? Yes, but the ice is so thick, so the ship was not even able to move on. And underneath that, 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. So under that was the salt water. 1 meter thick ice. Under that was the water. In the periphery, the edge, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, floating ice. Okay, so crab seals, they were seals. They were also sitting there, and they were, sunning themselves, a little bit of sun. They were trying to warm themselves. So here they could see all these things there, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. Like our dogs, they had their seals there. It was nothing short of a revelation. Everything does indeed connect. So everything has a connection, right? It's something like a revelation that you get to know. Revelation is something about what is going to happen to you. So when you get down there and when you look at all these things, you can actually connect to what is going to happen. In case these ice sheets melt, what will happen to the future? Okay, everything, everywhere, human beings are causing a lot of disruption, and that is causing a lot of trouble to the entire planet. And we, as school customers, we keep doing what we are doing rather than lending a helping hand to those organizations, to those, the Green Revolution especially. Whatever we can do from our side has to be done. Only then the planet Earth will survive. So, 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. So, he's talking about how we travel, and he's talking about how much is there on this planet. Okay, the beauty of balance. So, only if there is a balance, everything will fall in its place. Otherwise, when there is an imbalance, naturally, all of us are going to get affected by anything, natural disasters, whatever happens, it's because of human activity. All right. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? Will we be around to see it, or would we have gone the way of the dinosaurs, mammoths, and woolly rhinos? Who is to say? So, if that place is going to become warm, then we will also be wiped out like the dinosaurs were wiped out. So we do not know what will happen if Antarctica is going to become warm. We do not know what will happen to the human life. So, but after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, so teenagers, they are very, idealistic. They have their opinions, they have their longings to save the planet Earth. These people have the urge within them to work and to save the planet Earth. So he says, after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years. But what a difference a day makes. So he says, these children, of course, they have a lot of ideas. They want to save the planet Earth. It's very nice to be with them. And he says, you know, in a million years, there are lots of things that can happen, yes, but every single day matters. So one day can change the entire perspective. So he says how his perspective changed, how those 52 people, when they walked on the ice, how they would have, their perspective would have changed. He says every single day can make a change. Small things will take care of big things. So let us, we are learning a lot about the environment, we're learning a lot about saving the planet, but as students, as the future citizens, we do have a share to contribute. So let's take care of small things and help the big things fall into place. So that is the end of this lesson. I want you to give me answers on Jeff's reason for including high school students on this program, and what is the name of the program, and the who is it headed by, and what is academic showcase, all these, and phytoplanktons. What are phytoplanktons? What is their role? Their importance. Okay, so I want you to give me an entire, detailed answers, an entire detailed answer for all these questions. And I would like you to tell me why Antarctica is the best place to go to learn to understand the past, present, and the future of our planet. Okay, so that is the end of this lesson. And I would like you to do at least 2 worksheets per session or 1 lesson per session. Don't do everything together. Take your time. If you're doing worksheets, 2 worksheets per session. If you're doing a lesson, 1 worksheet, 1 lesson per session. Thank you, children. Take care.